On a very chilly morning of April 13th, 2025, we decided to do a very different type of rail fanning. We decided to rail fan the Reading, Susquehanna, and Western Railroad. Now, to give you a little history behind the New York Susquehanna or the Reading, Susquehanna, and Western, we're going to talk about the two railroads that created the Reading, Susquehanna, and Western. Now, I must give a quick disclosure. I am sorry, I am sick, so I don't even know why I'm going to be talking about this and all that. And it's just for you guys that I do this, even though I'm sick. So be grateful. So, the two railroads that merged the Reading, Susquehanna, and Western were the Reading, Blue Mountain, and Northern Railroad and the New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railroad. The New York, Susquehanna, and Western was formed in 1881, and the Reading, Blue Mountain, and Northern started their operations in 1983. Now, these railroads ran up until 2022, when a possible merger was talked about in with the Federal Railroad Association, known as the FRA. It was brought up that the New York, Susquehanna, and Western, and Reading, Blue Mountain, and Northern were looking to merge together to form a big railroad empire, scaling most of New York, Pennsylvania, with similar trackage rights owned as well from the Indiana and Ohio, which we will talk about that later. So there was a year-long talk with the Federal Railroad Association about the two railroads coming together. Finally, on January 1st, 2024, the Reading, Susquehanna, and Western Railroad was formed. The Reading, Susquehanna, and Western has trackage rights along the NS and CSX to get some work done, to get their trains to their destinations. As Reading, Susquehanna, and Western was formed in Ohio, starting in Ohio, which was their base of operations is in Cincinnati. Their first two ever trains ever ran were 555 and 100. 555 is a international container train ran from Cincinnati, Ohio to Ayer, Massachusetts. And 100 is ran from Cincinnati to Binghamton, New York. So today we're going to be rail fanning the New York, the RS&W's Jersey district, which runs from Butler, New Jersey to Croxton, New Jersey. Our first train of the day is westbound train 551. 551 is a stack train, mixed containers, international and domestic, running from Croxton, New Jersey to Syracuse, New York. Our next train is eastbound 554 from Syracuse, New York to Croxton, New Jersey. We are now sitting in the downtown Butler, New Jersey, right next to Butler Yard, where a bunch of NYSW locomotives sit idle, waiting their next assignment. As those locomotives sit there idled, awaiting their next assignments, RSW train 561 comes down. 561 was just recently attached to the fleet of intermodal trains as needed bare table train. Right now it is pulling into the siding as it has just outlawed. The next train to come east is RSW 497. Now you're maybe wondering, 497 is a westbound symbol. Well, this train is bound for Cincinnati, Ohio, as it is heading down its shared trackage to go down to New Jersey to hop the NS and head west to head for Susquehanna. 497's DPUs rushed by the crossing. We got a phone call from our buddy down the tracks. He said that the train we have been waiting for, 496, is possibly approaching the Pompton Plains Diamond area. So we quickly shot down to intercept. Although it wasn't 496, it was actually train 78N, a frac sand train from Chicago, Illinois to Binghamton, New York. So next train is 496. Today, 496 is tasked with taking 200 grain cars that were delivered from the FC and EC, also known as the Florida Central and East Coast Railroad, ran by a friend of mine, to different spots along the RS&W's trackage for storage while he figures out what he needs. Now, 496 is a regular as-needed grain train that runs from Cincinnati, Ohio, that is usually handed off in Cincinnati from DNNS, also known as the Deshler, Northwood, and Southern Railroad, that I take to Air, Massachusetts and bring back to the DNNS and cycle keeps going. RSW 496's DPUs rounded the corner to continue its way west. We decided to call it a night. But right as the DPUs had finished passing, we heard a radio call to a 94S. We would come to realize that that was the vegetation train was coming out of the siding there just down the tracks from us where it was kind of in sight. So we stayed and quickly caught that last train, and that ended our Railfan day. And with that, we ended an amazing day trackside. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have an excellent day whenever you watch this. And just a quick disclaimer, this was taken on Trains 2019. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, comment down below if I should do more RS&W videos in the future. And also, turn on the notification bell to be notified whenever I post or go live. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.